Hi there everyone, Carol Ann here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Cambridge, New Zealand, and I call myself the Queen of Scraps. So I'm away this weekend, so I thought I'd record something so you don't miss out on Sunday when I am doing my regular lives. And what we'd been planning was, remember last week we made the rosette. Here's a couple I've completed. I actually found a brooch back. And you can find these in craft stores, so if you want to turn it into a brooch. I also, on my first one, had to improvise with a safety pin, and that works too. So those are cool just to gift as themselves, or you can add them onto the front of the card. So I showed you how to make those last week, but today I'm going to show you how to make the card, which is very simple. Basically scoring the beautiful DSP, and I'm going to show you how you can make your card. This, usually I'm working in metric, but today I am going to be working in inches. This original design was given to me in inches by my upline Christine, and I haven't, it works much better in inches. That's why it's called a 2468 card, and it doesn't sound so catchy in metric. But I'll have a PDF with all the instructions next week when I do the final part, which is the box envelope, and I'll give you a little sneak peek of that shortly. So today I'm using retired DSP. I'm using this beautiful Dainty Flowers, and what we're going to do, I've already cut this to size. It is 11 3/4 inches by 5.5, and obviously cutting it, if it's directional, cut it so it's going to be landscape. And I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to score it. Put my blade right out of the way. Remember with DSP, don't score too vigorously because it's not as thick as cardstock, and you can puncture it if you're too rough. You can always go back. So that's at 4. Slide across to 6. And I will need to bring the flap out here and go all the way out to 8. Are we still on screen? I think we might still be on screen. Yes, we are. Great, so those are all the scores, and we can put that aside. I've already cut my card back, and again, this isn't quite standard metric sizing, but it's what works really well for this card. So we're going to fold this initially, and we're just going to concertina fold it. So you can see looking like this. And all we're going to do is we're going to just line that up a little better there, and it really does show off this beautiful directional paper. What we're going to do is we're going to take the 1, 2, 3rd and 4th panel. So we're going to put glue on the back here and glue this down, or you could use tape or whatever is your favourite adhesive. I normally do use my Tombow, especially on camera, because it's nice and quick to apply. So we're just going to fold that over and seal that up. And it makes that nice flap there. And then we're going to just apply adhesive here. And again, we're just centering that on the backing. And that's basically the card done. We just need to add our little layers, and you can add whatever you would like to this, and this middle one will pop up a little bit. They'll both have some sort of pop up and dimension to it, and that will look lovely on the display. So I've got some bits I've already pre-done. There's a mat, a small mat and insert for the partly made it small so that we can see more of the DSP. It's a shame to be covering it up. So I'm just going to pop that in there fairly close to there, so we're going to have it mostly covered up. Once we put our other layers on. And I'm going to use this little punch die shape from the Colour and Contour bundle, and I've already worked out the size to cut the insert, 4.8 by 8.1, back to metric now. So that's my little insert that's going to pop in there. And I'm also going to put this one on that second layer there, and they're going to layer up so you don't see them underneath one until you open it up. So I'm going to show you how. I'm just going to quickly do the stamping. I'm using the layering leaves, and you can see I've already got some layering leaves lined up here, and I will show you how I stamped those. Right, I'm just taking my cue from the colours in the DSP. A couple of these colours are retired now, but I always hang on to my retired colours, at least until I've used up all the DSP with them, and I'm not quite done with that. So I'm using the open leaf here, and we are doing Mossy Meadow. And then I'm going to use Old Olive. I always like when I'm doing flowers, even though these are moderately stylized, I do like to try and get something that's a little bit of variation of colour, because you don't just get one flat colour in nature. So I'm just going to stamp that off so we get a lighter colour of our Old Olive, and I'm just lining that up. There we go, fill that in. Actually, I'm going to save this for I'm just going to show you how I got the multiple colours on my little flower accent. Pop it up here so hopefully you can see that. And we have got two retired colours here, Rich Razzleberry and Blushing Bride, which Rich Razzleberry definitely was one of my favourites. The one I said I was saddest to see go was Fresh Freesia, but we luckily got that one back. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to ink this up with Old Olive, and I'm just inking up the whole thing, even though I wanted to get multiple colours. I'm going to put that aside, and then I just like to take my chamois, and I just can very carefully, with these clear stamps, it's very easy to see where to remove it and where to apply it. So I've just cleaned it off the flower parts of the stamp, and I'm taking my Stampin' Right marker. And there's a method you can use for lots of things to get more than one colour on a stamp. And I'm just using the side of the Stampin' Right marker to add some pink, light pink, to that. If you think you've picked up a bit of green, just clean it off before you put it away. I had picked up a bit of green there. Now, I usually like to keep even if the colours were tired, I keep my little cubes, my ink spots, and I'm just going to add a little bit of ink here, and I'm just adding it. Don't just pop it in one place, otherwise you're going to I want to get it really just on the base. I think I'm getting some on the stems as well, so I might have to go back and redo those. I was much more successful the rest of the day. So I'm just if you can see there, the tips of the flowers are actually just pink, and the base has got more of the purple. So I don't really want purple stems, and I can see I've got a bit too much purple on there, so Just going to clean that off. I seem to have lost my old olive marker, so I'll have to carefully apply it there. Now, because it's taken a little while to put the colour on there, I'm just going to huff on this, and the moisture in my breath will help reactivate those colours. So I'm just going to stamp that down. And you see you've got a lovely little flower that's got multiple colours there. I'm going to stamp, now I'm going to punch these out. Better put away this ink before I make a mess. So my punch is here. I'm just going to line the bottom of the stem and the tip of the leaf up there. Just check the other parts. Should have a nice even margin around all our bits there, and no, we still haven't. Just let that slip a little bit. Punch that out, and then I'm going to come down here and punch out my flower or little bud, little floral element. But I'm just using this because it's something I have. I didn't get the delicate details stamp set, but that would be lovely to use in this spot too. So there we go. We've got another little leaf and flower bud. So we can use these as accents on our card. I'm just going to stamp a couple of sentiments. And again, I'm using the layering leaves. I have got the Best Wishes, which I'm just going to pop on here. And I think I'll use the Starry Sky for this one. Just inking that one up, and we'll pop that on there. Lovely. And I've got another sentiment which is from the set, So Happy to Celebrate You. And oh, don't do that. This is where another reason the chamois is great to have on hand, because without leaving the table I can ah dear, if it's not technology it's something else. Anyway, I don't think that's going to get on my card. If I do, I'm going to have to take a short break. I'm going to stamp directly on this one, So Happy to Celebrate You, and I am going to, what colour shall I use for this one? I might use the rich razzleberry for this one. And I'm just going to use my little cube here. Great. So we're going to just stamp on here. Great. Lovely. So all we're going to do now is apply these to our card front, and the main thing is to make sure that we only glue 1/2 of the element that we're putting down here, because otherwise you're going to glue your card shut, and nobody wants to do that. Okay, so I'm going to pop that one there, close that up, make sure that is nicely square. This one I'm going to, I've already cut, as I said, this out so it will fit within the little border with the little even margin there. Oopsie, let's just get that straight. Good. And again, we're only wanting glue on this side here. Don't go too far over. And I'm just going to line these two die cuts up, so when they're closed you won't see the other one below. When they open you can see both of them, which is lovely, and there's a place for a little handwritten note. And I'm just going to decorate this with some of the punch shapes. I think I'm going to share you a little tip. Might be in I might have to do a little video about this, but I was looking for cellophane bags in the local $2 shop. Ming's the Merciless is what I call it. It's called Ming's. And I just happened to see these little needle glue, whatever. Hadn't seen them before, and I haven't seen them in New Zealand before, and they're something I've seen on American demonstrators using, and they just mean you can get a really fine amount of glue when you're dealing with something like this. So there we go, and I'll just put a couple more here just to get some more detail. So this is something that's very easy to do with your 12 by 12. My original card I actually used on my original card I used 6 by 6. Maybe I should show you how to do that too. So it's quite easy to modify it to be used for a 6 by 6 as well. Okay, I need that to stick down a little more. I might just pop a block on that to leave it dry flat. Right, okay, that's just drying there. It'll only take a moment. So yes, I've just put my ordinary Tombow, I've just decanted it into there, so when I'm doing fine stuff, same glue as here, when I'm doing fine stuff, I'm using it from this little applicator bottle. It really does help. And that should be enough. So that's another little card. So happy to celebrate you. I think that's very sweet and very pretty little card. Next week I'm going to show you how to make a box envelope. This is my prototype, and you can see why I've chosen to use this DSP. So you can see something quite thick will fit in here, and so something with a lot of embellishments like our rosette card. So I haven't put a rosette on this because I just thought I'd show you a different way of decorating it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next week, Sunday. It will be the 27th of August, and it'll be 4 p.m. Hope you can join me then. Goodbye.